Alright, hello everyone, Resins here with another expert Age of Empires 2 cast to help you learn everything that you need to know from the basics to advanced tips by watching some of the very best Aoe2 games out there. Today's games are played on the Aoe2 HD Balance Patch 5.7 using the WololoKingdoms mod. The first match of today is going to be a truly bizarre one, a double-blind forward military building strategy from both players that neither are initially aware of. It also showcases an incredibly iconic civilization matchup in Age of Empires 2, the Britons and the Goths, and will help show you how the experts fight between the two civilizations. Normally, the Goths are considered to be heavily favored because the Huskarl counters all archery units and the Britons are an archer civ. So how do you beat them? Now, I don't know who actually wins this match, as I never watched the full replay prior. So if the Britons lose, just remember that the secret is champions. Make champions to beat the Huskarls. And if the Goths end up making hand cannoneers, then simply make arbaleths and longbowmen to back up your champions. So, like I said, I never watched the full replay prior, but I really wanted to watch the first 10 minutes of this one. That way I could provide a little bit of a better analysis. And that's when I realized that this is going to be one of the messiest and craziest matches of Age of Empires 2 that you've ever seen. Normally when I watch the first 10 minutes it's just to see what everyone's opening is, but in this case, I was horrified at what I saw, and I think you're all thoroughly going to enjoy this one. So, both these players right now, as we can see, let's go to MBL's perspective. The first thing that you should do, of course, at the start of the game is, besides, you build two houses, you cube a bunch of villagers, and you use your scout to go try and find your sheep, and then fan your sheep out as scouts around your town center. Because you really only need two underneath your town center at a time. And you want to put them underneath your TC rather than like a tile away, that way the villagers just have to sit up to drop off the food. Lumber camp coming down right here. Now this is actually interesting because this is actually like the perfect spot to put this lumber camp, but MBL doesn't even know that. He doesn't know that there's a stone mine that's actually being blocked here, and he's going to realize that in just a minute. So you get to see his reaction here live. But MBL is so good at Age of Empires 2 that he put his lumber camp in the exact perfect spot to make sure that he can actually saturate his secondary stone mine fully without even knowing it was there. So MBL confirmed he's got ESP. And I'm impressed. This single villager, again, is going to free up another slot, and if he ever sends a fourth lumberjack over there or retasks another villager onto this tree, this stone mine is open, so props to him there. That's pretty crazy, honestly. Not gonna lie. Right now, it looks like Mr. Yo is going to be preparing for his wall off, but I just realized I didn't take a moment to briefly introduce the players. Today's game, it's Mr. Yo, who will be playing as the Blue Britons, facing off against MBL, who will be our Yellow Goths player, on the map Arabia, a very, very aggressive map. And when you're there we go, here comes the fourth, is this the fourth lumberjack? Yeah, he's building the house, he's gonna prep him for the wall off, presumably from here to here. Nice, nice. Will he assign this lumberjack to this tree? How good is MBL? Or as Kriparian would say, but how good is MBL? I can't do a Crip impression, but turns out MBL is pretty good. He's pretty good. Freeing up that stone mine. Both players prepping up for a little wall off here. Let's take a little bit of a look at the map. As usually, analyzing the map it helps you determine what strategies that you should be going for whenever you're playing in Age of Empires 2. You have to identify areas of importance, like where are your resources located, what are safe, can you lure the deer, where should you wall, and what build orders are encouraged because of that. So right off the bat, let's go over to Mr. Yo's perspective. We go over here. And he's luring the boar. Very nice boar lure, by the way. And by very nice boar lure, I mean that he doesn't actually have a sheep decaying underneath his town center. A lot of times people... Did I miss a boar steal? I think I missed... Did I miss a boar steal? Or did he... No, he just lured the one of the boars a little earlier because he's Goths. Okay, got it. I was about to say, I do not think I would have missed that boar steal there because the scout's at full HP, so nice. We're good to go in that regard. But anyway, a lot of players, usually when they lure their boar, they end up accidentally having like one sheep decaying during that time, but if you line up your builder perfectly by watching my Fast Castle Age into Night Rush tutorial on YouTube, then you won't have any sheep decaying when you do that. Ooh, the scout takes 3 damage, which is somewhat significant. If you ask any pro player, some of the most significant things in Age of Empires do for any intermediate to advanced player to improve your game is focusing on, 1, scouting, and even little things like scout HP. And I'm just trying to dispel the notion, which was never true in the first place, that I only cater to new players. While I do try to explain concepts in a way that is easy to understand, doesn't mean that I don't understand the more advanced side of the game too. And now, we've reached a really, really weird spot in the game. I'm actually not going to pause it, but we're just going to slow it down real quick. So, this is a really fast feudal age. 7 minutes in the game, and Mysterio is going forward. Why is he going forward exactly? Why? Well, he's playing versus the Goths, for starters, and the Goths generally have the advantage in this matchup, but it is not a wash. It's not a one-sided matchup at all. You can make champions. He scouted the wood line and the bushes. He sees there's a hill. He knows this is an area that he can harass and tower up, and it looks like he's going for a forward. He's debating over whether or not he wants to build a house there. He's decided against it. Meanwhile, MBL, about a minute behind. So he's 30 seconds behind in his feudal age timing, and he's a little behind in the scouting. He is identified. Oh yes, this is what we're looking for when we're looking for the optimal forward positioning. Look at that main stone and main gold, so very vulnerable. And now he's going to see the secondary stone. This is the Triforce of aggression, of forward buildings in Age of Empires 2. And it's also the Triforce of laming. MBL unleashing his inner spring. Will be attempting a forward. Both players completely unaware that this is happening at the same time, and I find it hilarious, both of their trains of thought. And let me elaborate on this really briefly. So, Mr. Yo knows, he does not know about this stone mine. He doesn't know that there's a gold mine on this side, so he doesn't even know at all, anywhere to the level that MBL does, exactly how powerful his forward is. So why on earth do it? So now he's seen the stone mine, because again, he's looping his scout back around, and now he's seen the gold mine. But he decided to do the forward before that. Why on earth would you do that? And the reason is because you're playing versus the Goths. They've got the advantage in the late game, so you want to pressure them. And now, Mr. Yo realizes, and get back to normal speed, that, oh, it's time to put the pressure on, my man. It's time to put the pressure on, because this stone's vulnerable, this gold's vulnerable, Slumber Camp is, and so are these foragers. And meanwhile, MBL with the forward barracks. So, one other thing that I gotta briefly just mention really quickly, another reason why you would do this. You generally expect the Goths to go for like a Men-at-Arms tower rush in the typical expansions metagame because of all the buffs to the Men-at-Arms line and the weakened building HP, as we see here. They only have 750 HP, these houses, as opposed to 900. And that will scale up to 900 in the Castle Age. This encourages like a Men-at-Arms tower rush style build. This is a lot harder to defend in the early game, and also the nerfs to wall. And the Goths are getting to discount their infantry and extra attack bonus buildings, blah, blah, blah. You guys know all that stuff. So, we expect that kind of build from Mr. Yo. He's forwarding it, though, which I gotta say is pretty ballsy. And again, another telltale sign of that is 2 villagers on gold. How many villagers on gold does Mr. Yo have? Well, he's got none right now. So, he's actually going for a forward trash rush. And this is why keeping your scout healthy is really important. Thank you so much, someone else, for subscribing for 28 months. Really appreciate it. Chippa, I may have missed your sub. He said, can't wait for more expert commentary. Glad to hear it, glad to hear it. And yes, welcome to the live stream, everybody. So, this is pretty sick. Why is Mr. Yo doing this? Again, it's because the Goths in the late game, you play enough Age of Empires 2, you know they're trouble. Once they get that eco out, they can just field out infantry in it so very, very quickly. So you have to play this matchup aggressively. Meanwhile, MBL, now, one question I have to answer is, why exactly was MBL slower here? Because the Men-at-Arms Tower Rush, one of the main strengths of this strategy, why is it so good, is because it's like the fastest rush you can go for that doesn't suck. Because it only requires a barracks and requires a very small amount of villagers. It only requires 2 gold miners as well. Here's what slowed him down. He never found these 2 sheep And he never found his 3 deer either. One thing I saw... Yeah. Yeah, so this was one of the things I saw earlier when I watched it for the first time. The first 10 minutes. I don't know what happens now, but he did miss these 2 sheep and he did miss those 3 deer, which did slow down his feudal age time slightly, giving a little edge to Mr. Yo. But now the pressure is on Mr. Yo himself, as MBL, our yellow Goths player, is in here with both villagers. When they have Loom in the feudal age, they are very formidable opponents and can put on quite the damage. But the Man-at-Arms is the strongest feudal age combat unit next to really like a Bloodline Scout. But, you know, these things are very threatening. It's just so easy to get them out compared to Scouts because they're cheaper. You can make the Militia in the Dark Age, as we saw them do, and the Men-at-Arms upgrade's super cheap. They also crate really quickly, and they're just a good way to apply pressure, but typically we don't see players commit to them for too long. The trash army over here, he's got 1 archer. We'll see if he backs up the 1 archer. Oh, there he goes, look at that micro. Mr. Yo, so good at Age of Empires too. So, a lot of things that new players don't understand is what's the point of going for this type of rush with units where you're not actually really killing any villagers. All you did was like lose your scout and maybe you've killed a villager. Look at all this idle time. Every single one of these villagers, if we pause right here and we take a look at the eco stats, okay, I guess it doesn't show me the total amount of idle villagers. Maybe if I go back to MBL it will? I don't know. But I just want to show you this. Nope, doesn't. Regardless, these villagers, they're not doing anything. And how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 villagers that are completely idle. And he's still sending 8 after them. Holy moly. So that's the whole point of early game rushes in Age of Empires 2. I mean, there are multiple uses for them. Of course you want to kill some villagers if you can, but a lot of it is about map control, which is one of the most important advanced topics in Age of Empires 2, is securing map control. Denying your opponent information. Wow, I cannot believe MBL is actually fighting with these villagers, but... Or he's not, or he's running away. He does actually get a nice trade-off there, though, which is pretty good. The skirmishers, the fact that they have minimum range and they only deal 1 damage to a villager with Loom is hilarious and allows the villagers to fight back quite efficiently. So, here's what makes this game so hard to cast, besides a million things, is that neither player is actually capable of defending themselves at home because they all have their military buildings forward. In fact, does MBL even have his own archer range yet? I don't think he does. So they can literally only defend themselves with watchtowers while they have their armies in each other's base trying to do as much damage as possible. Let's talk about watchtower placement here. This one's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. It does deny this lumber camp entirely, which is all you need. All you need. It's on the low ground. It doesn't entirely deny this lumber camp, but does force some retasking. And again, every little just bit of time that you waste of your opponent and their attention is a resource, as Age of Empires 2 doesn't play itself. And that's what I love, and that's what makes games like StarCraft Brood War so popular to this day, is that you have to decide where you're investing your attention. Is it going to be in how you micro your units? Is it going to be in how you micro your economy? Is it your overall strategic planning? It's a difficult process. So, Mr. Yo also attempting to really just go all into this tower rush. So he has no gold miners, right? Let's be clear. His stone has been lame to hell and back, and that's going to be a big problem for him. And we might be witnessing one of the most retro, old-style feudal wars I've seen in a long time. This used to be the meta way back in the day, kind of, maybe with fewer towers, where people would stay in the feudal age for years fighting each other. But we might just see that because Mr. Yo isn't mining any gold, and MBL is, but he's got this annoying watchtower here on a hill. It makes it really hard for him to actually really do anything. So you know what he's doing instead? He's just mining Mr. Yo's gold, and that's a really good play on his part. Always salt the earth as you walk it. When you're forwarding your opponent, try and think long-term, because if it kills them, they're probably bad at the game. And if I'm casting this game in my Aoe2 Expert series, the full playlist below, they're not bad at this game. This is probably not going to kill them. Although I do actually have an 8-minute Age of Empires 2 Expert game, but those are always fun. It's a little bit of a fluke. So, MBL, I like this here. What he's doing is, once Mr. Yo inevitably reclaims his base back, he will eventually, he's just going to have fewer resources there for himself. So Mr. Yo presumably has his eye on this main gold mine, and he has been mining from the stone mine as well. So both players kind of crippling each other here. I like this. It's not often that we see mass skirmishers versus men-at-arms, but let me tell you this. The men-at-arms kind of have the advantage because they take only 1 damage without fletching, but they can get kited by the men-at-arms, so you do have to be careful. And these are Goths men-at-arms. They are a little bit cheaper. And overall, it's just hilariously awkward to see these players actually try and defend themselves, but just be generally unable to because they have to just mass towers do it. So, how on earth does Mr. Yo keep himself in this game? Because this wood line sucks. You can basically only have 5 villagers here, and if Spirit of the Law looked at it and he was calculating how inefficient this is, he would do exactly what Mr. Yo just did right now and realize, just no. And retest these villagers away entirely somewhere else. Now, Palisade Walls have a very poor line of sight, and if I switch over to MBL's perspective, he doesn't have Talon Watch, right? So he should not see these villagers pass by. He does not. Okay, excellent, excellent. And that means that Mr. Yo actually has, yeah, a completely hidden safe wood line, and I'd love to see a secondary lumber camp here from him. I think that would be absolutely essential, because once you have, you know, 4 is peak efficiency, but let's be honest, peak efficiency isn't always possible. So I say, you know, 5 or 6 is enough for a single lumber camp before you should really consider a second one. If you ever go over 10, you're crazy. And so I'd like to see a second lumber camp. And he's gonna build one. That's why Mr. Yo is so good at the game. This mass skirmishers, can he do it? Can he hold the line? That is the question. That is the question. As MBL forced to even tower his own farms, however few he may have, both of these players with an alarmingly low population and an economy in shackles, but Mr. Yo, as the Britons, is going for an unupgraded skirmisher forward rush. And once again, salt the earth. Build a watchtower here. Why? Because a lumber camp over here could be kind of nice, and I assume Mr. Yo is going to build some palisades around the bases to make this really hard to remove. MBL's actually buying stone at the market, holy crap, to actually try and build more towers to protect his farms. This is actually a ridiculous game, Age of Empires 2. These berries being denied is really bad on Yo's eco, but the fact he's got this secret wood line is one of the many reasons why I love Age of Empires 2. One of the many, many reasons. And this maniac, how many games of Age of Empires 2 have you seen when you start mining gold like 25 minutes in the game? What's up, Mr. Yo? Come on, come on. But here's the cool thing. Mr. Yo, he's starting to mine gold now because I think he's getting a little tired of this feudal war and that he wants to get to the castle age. So he's trying to set up his economy nicely for that. He's recognizing that his food count is rising rather rapidly, so all he needs to do is wait for his gold count to catch up. And it's going to. It's going to. So he should be able to get to the castle age relatively soon. But if we compare his eco to MBL's, MBL's is not actually that balanced. So what he could do, since he has so many villagers on gold, is actually buy his way to the castle age with his market. And it's really sick that he's actually been using this market this entire time. Look at all the villagers he has on gold. Wow, he's got 10 gold miners. Yeah, so this is another way to get yourself out of this horrible situation. The forward market, jeez. Whew. Ah, by the gods, what a game Age of Empires 2 I'm witnessing right now. Are you kidding me? Mr. Yo, also gonna sell some wood. There we go, there we go. Is he gonna click up? He's so close. He's so close. He's going to be the first player to the castle age, which is absolutely critical. Tech advantages are essential. Corbix says, you said you would cast a pro game, yet you're showing me this. Everyone knows that a real professional game is a 1v1 Huns Arabia AOC. Well, it is a 1v1 Arabia, but there are no Huns here. I'd be happy to cast some Hun Wars. I mean, to be honest, you know, the AOC metagame, like, I don't find it that boring. It's like really, at least I prefer the water side of things. Sure, the civs are imbalanced, but they're imbalanced in this one too. So, provided, you know, it's not a mirror match, it's always nice. It's always nice. And players still continue to surprise me regardless. And now, Mr. Yo advancing to the castle age is going to be exactly 1 minute behind MBL, who's advancing at 28 minutes. We'll see what he does with that tech advantage. I'm going to assume Mr. Yo He's getting bad at Arch Armor now. He's got fletching. Will he prioritize Bodkin Arrow over Bowsaw? I'm going to say yes, that is the correct decision. Oh, excellent tower placement and snipe from Mr. Yo. That's why this guy is a legendary Age of Empires 2 player here. Did you see that? Oh, what a snipe. What a snipe that MBL would not see coming and would not be able to prevent salvaging the remaining parts of his gold mine. But what is this? Mr. Yo. Building a stable. Now this I like to see. This is legit. But MBL's not done yet with these watchtowers. Thank you so much, Runiad, for subscribing for free with Twitch Prime. For those of you who watch on YouTube, you can also do that as well. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. And what, both players are transitioning into mounted units, presumably knights now? So why is the question. And that's the difference that I try to make between myself and some of the other AOC casters is anyone can tell you exactly what's going on the screen, but not everyone can tell you why. So why knights? Why are both players making knights, and why is Mr. Yo making knights and getting Bodkin Arrow? So for one, Bodkin Arrow is extremely cost efficient, and he already has all these ranged units. Look at his army. He's got 9 ranged units. Bodkin Arrow is cost efficient. Bingo. And now he's camping the bottom of this tower. That way, the 4 villagers inside this, which would be a big blow to MBL's eco, will inevitably die. And just realized, gotta close Facebook. Ah! Sorry about that one. Bowsaw coming down for MBL, one of the most important technologies to get as soon as you get to the Castle Age. And, so why make knights? Why make knights? Well, first of all, they're decent at removing, you know, the watchtowers that aren't Teutons, that don't have the free murder holes. And they're also really good against all feudal age units. If you are MBL, why would you go for knights? Well, because, dude, your opponent's got an army of almost nothing but skirmishers at this point in the game. So, you should be able to just crush the rebel scum. Crush them. Wipe them out. All of them. However, perhaps what you didn't account for is that Mr. Yo, being a little bit faster, will have the 1-minute advantage on the knights coming down. Meanwhile, MBL putting down a town center next to a wood line. Always put your town centers adjacent to some form of resource, preferably at least a wood line. In this case, putting it next to a mill, because he finally found his sheep and his deer, as well as this wood line, which will allow him to put down some really heavy farms. He's even going to put down an outpost, which is really smart play. This will deny Mr. Yo from trying to put down a watchtower over here, which inevitably he'll try to do, because look at him. He's textbook definition of sneaky. Like, he's the sneakiest guy you'll ever meet. I love these plays. What the hell am I looking at? It's worth getting demonetized. If enough people watch this video, I can get it undemonetized. What is this? My man, this isn't your base. You ever just walk into someone else's house and pretend like it's yours? That's Mr. Yo. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's got the forward town center, but he's the Britons, to be fair. To be fair. And you know what that means? He's got that discount. Oh yeah. Minus 50% wood in the Castle Age. And that is huge. It's tremendous, believe me. It's the best trade deal. It allows you to build a truly colossal-sized economy. However, I think Mr. Yo has Town Watch or something. No, he doesn't have Town Watch. It doesn't even matter, because he's got Bracer on his watchtower, so of course he sees the castle coming. But yeah, he just retest the villagers on the stone mine. He's like, I don't care. And now MBL's going to attempt to transition into Huskarls. Meanwhile, we've been seeing a lot of battles going on. Skirmishers are still alive, but that 1-minute extra advantage is proving to be decisive in this game when getting the Castle Age. Because these knights take quite a while to produce. They do take quite a while. I think it's about a minute, but I could even just verify that real fast for you all. How long does a knight take to create? It does take a very long time. It takes actually half a minute, which is still a really long time. So what that means is that Mr. Yo gets 2 knights out before MBL does, which is actually decisive. And this might be one of the latest horse collars I've ever seen in Age of Empires 2, as well as the latest bow saw. Good lord. That's really bad. Okay, so, my friends, here comes everyone's favorite part of an Age of Empires 2 game. I think you can all attest to this. Please leave a like on the video if you agree. Actually, just leave a like, please, but regardless. Huskarls, they're coming. They're so fun to play against. Everyone loves playing against Huskarls. So, what's up with the +1 attack? What's up with the foraging, you might be wondering? Foraging first? What is this game? Is MBL okay? Does he need to see a doctor? Do we need to send him to a medical emergency? I don't understand. The foraging first. So, foraging is one. He's getting foraging for his knights. This is important because when your opponent has +1 on their knights, they actually live additional hits. You want it to, the 10 attack to line up really nicely with 120 HP. Similarly, you know what else is 10 attack? Huskarls. He doesn't actually need the extra defense right now on his Huskarls because there's nothing that does more than 1 damage to it that's currently available to Mr. Yo. Because he doesn't even really have that many crossbowmen, as far as I'm aware, if any. Yes. He has some monks he's actually making a lot of monks. The monks were initially intended to deter the opposing knights from MBL, of which he actually has a lot of. And we actually do see monks utilized. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Actually using the healing, something that is criminally underused in competitive Age of Empires 2. Even though it's essentially free. It's mostly because attention is a resource, and it's not worth it to make monks solely for healing. It just never is. But if you have monks and you have high HP value units like these knights, then yes, you do want to heal them. Another reason why Yo is struggling to apply too much offensive pressure, even though he does have a big eco lead due to the discount on town centers that the Britons have, as well as his faster uptime. He is winning. It's just that he hasn't been able to really apply the killing blow, mostly because the Britons knights, they don't get bloodlines, which kind of suck. And MBL has bloodlines +1 and then +2 defense, which is very, very significant indeed. Now, being able to pressure... This game is so immaculately well designed. Please tell me he's going to triple convert these. Triple convert these. Show me the sick micro. Oh, he's going to triple convert the knights instead. That's acceptable. That is an acceptable response because there is no pikeman upgrade yet. Excellent from Mr. Yo. Very, very well played. And now he's just queuing up all the techs. Town Watch, Handcart, and Imperial Age all at the same time. By the gods. This man. So MBL gets repelled there. Why exactly? Because of the monks. Now this is interesting and something that only someone who's watched as many games of Aoe2 as I have. I remember back in the day when I was really young, I downloaded like at least 2,000 to 3,000 replays. I downloaded every replay on AOC Zone, like pre-2006. And I just like watched them all on like, 9-hour road trips and whatnot. And a reasonable response that has picked up a little bit in the more modern metagame to Age of Empires 2. In the Huns vs. Goths matchup is to actually use monks as a way to convert Huskarls. That kind of sucks, but it's okay enough. And I like the Sanctity upgrade from Yo. I do, and I love that he's using them for healing. Let's go check out that healing action right now. I love it. I absolutely love it. Xross says, I'm new to the game, so your videos have been helping out a ton. Thank you so much, Xross. Really appreciate it. Now, CSS, did I miss the giveaway? Nope, you have not missed the giveaway. Sianvidi says, oh no, Town Watch! That should be everyone's reaction when they play Age of Empires 2 from now on. Most threatening technology in the game. And you know what Civ gets it for free? The Byzantines. Y'all better watch out. And in Break the Meta episode 25, we all get to see the impact of Freetown Watch. If you haven't seen Break the Meta episode 25 yet, I don't know what you're doing. After this stream, if you still have the power to stay awake, please do watch it. Wait, are they playing Standard Victory? What the hell? I think that was a mistake in the lobby. Was that intentional? Are you kidding me? Mr. Yo got all the relics? Okay, so I didn't have much of a chance to talk about why map control is so important. It's really important on Arena because the game might go long, and if the game goes long, then you have to make sure that you actually have control of the relics because they will generate you enough gold to actually win engagements. Seriously, if you get like 800 gold for free, which might not seem like anything, that's the entire cost of the Imperial Age right there. That's some insane bargains. That's value. What if you get more than that? What if you get 2,000? What if you have all 5 relics? This game's on standard victory? Oh, sweet zombie Jesus. What? Okay, well, Mr. Yo is going imp. And it's just the eco lead's actually not that big. How on earth is he getting to imp? First is due to a better eco balance, honestly, I would say. Let's go back to MBL. And also just the MBL has been like heavily investing in upgrades that cost food and gold and units that cost food and gold. Whereas what Mr. Yo's been doing is really smart, where he has a small group of knights, but he's just been reusing them over and over and over again, recycling them by just simply using them to raid and then healing them back up with his monks, allowing him to just stockpile resources to advance the Imperial Age. Meanwhile, these knights being a nuisance and constantly healed back up has actually forced MBL to delay his own imp time significantly by having him tech into pikemen, which costs like what, 215 or 210 food and like 90 gold or something like that. It's quite a bit. And also having him get anarchy, which he already has, and huskarls. This is a matchup you think would favor the Goths, but it's actually much more even than that. And when you get to the Imperial Age first, by such a significant margin, MBL actually has no intention of going to the Imperial Age. I wonder if he can actually win this game. Because he's not that far behind, but tech difference is everything in Age of Empires 2. Thank you so much, Hart, for hosting me for 128 viewers, and thank you, Nookied, for subscribing for free with Twitch Prime, and Amon as well. Really appreciate it. So, for those of you coming from Heartstream, I am an Age of Empires 2 caster. I started the first Age of Empires 2 channel back in 2009. I've been casting games since. And today we're casting some awesome expert replays. Today it's Mr. Yo versus MBL on Arabia. This is the WololoKingdoms mod. And right now MBL in a tough position because he's not in the Imperial Age. He has no intention of going to the Imperial Age. But you know who is? Mr. Yo is. And he's getting champions. He's getting conscription and iron casting. He knows how to play this matchup, which definitely stumps a lot of new players. So if you are looking to learn anywhere from beginner tips to intermediate to advanced tips, I'm an analytical caster for Age of Empires 2, so I always try to explain the why behind the decisions to improve your overall understanding of the game. No matter how good you are, unless you actually are Heart, you've got plenty to learn from watching my Aoe2 expert series. And I got the full playlist on YouTube. What's really weird about this game, though, to me, is that it's actually standard victory. You better not win with relics, because he honestly totally could. Any comeback MBL has, it's going to be over to do those relics. Oh, good lord. MBL just pumping up the upgrades like no one's business. So here's why getting the Imperial Age is so devastating and important. Getting to every age is a huge power spike, and this game is balanced immaculately well. Like I didn't get to mention earlier that I love that the Mangonel deliberately has one additional range over a town center, and the town center's range does not get upgraded with Fletching and Bodkin Arrow, allowing you a safe way to pressure enemy town centers in the Castle Age from a distance. Now, how about safe way to pressure enemy buildings? Let's talk trebuchets for a moment. That's a really safe way to pressure enemy buildings. Now, MBL is responding to this very well with his knights, but the Huskarls are just going to get dumpstered by these champions. So, what does MBL need to do? Well, he needs to be in the Imperial Age making hand cannoneers in response to this. And we were talking about this earlier on in the game. For those of you who are just tuning in the stream, simply subscribe to my YouTube channel. Maybe one of my mods can type xmakesmarksocial in the Twitch chat. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that way you can see the full video where I explain exactly how this matchup usually progresses. Yo, even getting Arson, I love this, just to close out the game. And I think he will be able to with a pretty decisive victory. Because honestly, the Goths don't win this matchup at all if the Britons get to the Imperial Age first, unless the Goths had a insurmountable lead, and then that begs the question, how did the Britons get to the Imperial Age first if the Goths had an insurmountable lead? They don't. And so GG. As 100 years are remaining on the relics, MBL calls GG at I think the right time. Some players call GG a little bit too early, I think, and end up screwing over their teammates in team games. And some players never resign, thus forcing you to chase them across the map and they wall their villagers into the corner. I don't know how any human actually derives any enjoyment from that, particularly the person doing it, but some people do. Whereas MBL, being the great player and streamer that he is, knows exactly when to resign. I think he had to fight that last battle. You have to see how that turns out. Resigning before that would be prematurely, but instead, he resigned at just the right time. What units do you make to beat this, by the way, if you're stuck in the Castle Age? Knights, not long swordsmen. But the problem is, though, is that Mr. Yo could transition to halberdiers because he's already getting all of his infantry upgrades. He's already getting, arson, he already has tracking, he already has a ton of barracks that are all forward on you. It's very easy for him to just grab pikemen and then mop up your knights. So really, the fact that Mr. Yo got to the Imperial Age first is what ended up closing out this game. And overall, we saw so many great plays from MBL early on, like immaculate decision making. But in the end, Mr. Yo proves that the Britons can absolutely win this matchup. There are only a few bad actual matchups in Age of Empires 2, and while this one is maybe slightly unfavored for the Britons, their superior economy, if you play aggressively early on, you can pull it back. And this was one of the craziest games I've cast in a while, with a double blind forward that no one saw. It's pretty nuts. So make sure to check it out on YouTube when you get the chance. And as always, I appreciate the support that I get for content that I do for games beyond just Age of Empires 2. So thank you to all of you that do take the time to actually leave a like rating on those videos, as that's what motivates me to continue producing more Age of Empires 2 content. It also helps support, grow the channel and the community. We want players from other games to come into the Age of Empires 2 community. That's what's going to keep this game alive forever. Besides, of course, your dedication and support for all of our casters and personalities. And again, I really appreciate the host heart. That was very sweet of you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to briefly check for any questions. Dark Paladin says, I actually like refusing to resign and hide my villagers in the corner and forcing my opponent to kill everything in the map. I feel like that's pretty BM. Yes, Austin, I will do a giveaway, yes. Critical Claim asks, what does Arson do? Arson gives +2 attack bonus for your infantry units against buildings. It's actually very strong if you're the Goths. And MBL did have that, because the Goths already get the +1 extra. So that's a flat +3. And if we're talking, they're making champions, the Men-at-Arms line and up also got a +1 bonus versus buildings that they didn't have in the Forgotten expansion. So it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Dragonstar asks, if you go triad for a year, can you reach the pro scene? I think it might take you longer than a year, but yeah, I will do my best through casting games. I really recommend you watch my Night Rush tutorial on YouTube at the end of the stream. Watch a lot of replays, watch a lot of good players, watch a lot of good casters, practice. Possible, certainly possible. Thank you, Tipkey, for the $10 donation. He says, if you haven't subscribed to Resonance 22, you'll never find true love. A high Voobly Elo is highly arousing. Subscribe for sexy Elo. My Voobly Elo is like slightly above average, but my goal is to get you above that. I'm just not a fast player. I don't have the reflexes, nor do I have the time anymore to really dedicate to it. But yeah, I think you could become a very good Age of Empires 2 player in a year, yes. And this game does have a good competitive scene that I do routinely cover. And thank you, Hyuna OP, for the 7-month resubscription. I really appreciate you actually keeping your sub. I know that, like a lot of my viewers, some people eventually grow away from AoE, and that's also why it's super important that people actually support my variety content, to give them a reason to stick around. Because you can only watch so many Hun Wars. But that's why I go out of my way to select crazy games like this. Because it so turns out that you don't need to do nuts community games to find really interesting expert matches. So, as always, thank you so much for watching and for showing your support. Really appreciate it. Please check out all of my social links on the screen and the video description below. I really appreciate it, and even a couple dollars on Patreon makes a huge difference. I think as of this recording, Sir Bovard pledged $5 on Patreon the other day. That was really nice of him. And we'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. I'm going to cast another expert game after this, which is awesome and features the Viper. If you love my style, please follow me on Twitch and subscribe to me on YouTube. Thank you as always for your support. We shall return. GG, well played.